First category is work. Potential energy is the second category. Third category is kinetic energy. Fourth category is energy graphs. Fifth category is conservation of energy. And the last category of today's Review Jeopardy is mystery. Can I get a ooh? Okay. So let's start off easy. We'll take work for 100. This is the unit for work. So take a few seconds, think about your answer. If you said, what is the joule, and you answered in question form, what is, you are correct. Your team has earned 100 points. And we take it from there. So today's video is going to be about how to review for a test using Jeopardy. And I'm going to focus on ratio, meaning students doing most of the work, collaboration, and joy. The way that I do the Review Jeopardy, I think, is really useful because it emphasizes these three topics. So I think there's 4 common Jeopardy flaws that I've seen when other teachers use Review Jeopardy. The first is it's designed for the fastest students. So it's a race. The first person to hit the buzzer gets to answer the question. Second flaw is not all students are thinking. It's really easy to disengage. If you don't know the answer, you just sit there. Third, it may not be truly collaborative even though you're on a team. There may be one person doing the work. And 4, it just might not be very engaging. So these, I think, are common Jeopardy flaws. I think the way that I do Jeopardy before a test addresses each one of these flaws. So the PowerPoint, which I started this video with, I have a template which I'm happy to share. And even with the template, it takes a few hours to create, to put all your questions in. I like to increase the questions in rigor, going from the 100 to the 500. They get harder. I like my Review Jeopardy to really emphasize key ideas. I'm not out to trick anybody. I just want to, the day before the test, really drive home the important ideas. And I think it should align to the exam. I think the questions should be similar content to what's going to be on the exam the next day. So here's the room setup for a Jeopardy. Got your, let's say, 32 students. Here's me, the teacher. The screen is in the front of the room. Every student gets a whiteboard and a whiteboard marker and eraser. And then I group the teams into about 8 teams of 4. Here's the rules that I use, and this is really the key idea here. This is what gets you your ratio and your collaboration. So as the teacher, I have 8 popsicle sticks, 1 per team. So just the numbers 1 through 8 written on 8 sticks in a jar. I call on the very first team of the day randomly, and they have to say we'll take blank for blank 100. So we'll take energy for 200. If they don't answer, and if they don't pick the category in this form, I pretend like I didn't hear them. Once the question has been picked, I give a time limit. So I read the question, I give a time limit. It's usually somewhere between 30 seconds and 3 minutes, just depending on the rigor of the question. During that time, I start the timer. Students are working quietly with their team. So I tell them you don't want to give away your answers to the other teams who are sitting nearby. So they're working quietly, and every person in the team is writing the answer on their whiteboard. Okay, so everybody's doing some work. When the time is up, okay, this is really the key right here. It's not a race. Okay, so the fastest team, the first time you try and do this with your students, they're going to hold up their whiteboards right away. But tell them, put your boards back down. It's not a race. I'm going to randomly pick a stick. Okay, so any of the 8 teams could be picked at this point. So every single kid should be working. And that's getting you your ratio. Every kid is doing the work. So let's say I pick group number 2. Group number 2, everybody holds up their board, and there's 2 possibilities. The first possibility is every person in the team got the answer correct. In that case, they would get the points, and we would go to the next question. Team 2 would say, we'll take, mystery for 100. If Team 2 got it incorrect, then I will simply say no, and I'll pick another stick from the jar. So it could be Team 4 next, etc. Few other rules here. I don't do any scorekeeping. That's not important to me. So if a team earns points, one member of the team just gets up, they write their points on the front board. I'll go through a problem if there's enough requests. So if there's a number of students who ask, hey, can you go over that? I'll go over a question really quick, but I probably only do that 2 to 3 times in the whole hour. I really want them to be figuring out the answers. If all teams answer incorrectly, that doesn't mean I'll give them the answer to the question. I'll give a hint, I'll put all the sticks back in the jar, and we'll start again. I'll pick a random team to try again. Last, but definitely not least, is the joy factor. I want this review to be useful, I want it to have good ratio, I want it to be collaborative, but I also want it to be fun. That's going to get kids invested, and I do find that it's one of the most engaging days of the unit, typically. So for the joy factor, I have a shtick, that little, things that make kids smile, and they know I'm going to do it every time. So first of all, when I go through the categories at the beginning, the class has to clap, and they have to cheer. And if they don't cheer for a category, I'll start it over. So I say kinetic energy, and they have to cheer and clap, and then we'll go to the next. And if there's a daily double, they have to cheer for that as well. So this is kind of forced joy. The kids, like I mentioned before, the team that picks the next question has to say, we'll take blank for blank 100, or I pretend like I didn't hear them. When students answer the question, they have to put it in, their answer has to be in question form, just like Jeopardy. If somebody says, we'll take mystery for any value, I make the class ooh, because it's a mystery, so they have to go ooh. And finally, since the kids are keeping track of their points, anytime they ask me how many points is that worth, I'll make up a random number like 30. The minimum number is 100, so they learn pretty quick that they have to keep track of their own points. And finally, every student wants to know, what do we get if we win? And this is part of the shtick. I tell them at the end of the game, well, if the winning team gets to use on their test tomorrow a 3x5 index card with handwritten notes on both sides. But they know that is just a joke, because every student gets to bring a 3x5 index card with notes written on both sides. So again, thanks for watching. I hope you got some good ideas for reviewing with your classes using Jeopardy.